Hello and welcome again to my first book recap video. Today I'll talk about my favorite book of September, Talking to Strangers, What We Should Know About the People We Don't Know by Malcolm Gladwell. For those who are unfamiliar with Malcolm Gladwell, he's a Canadian journalist, New York Times bestseller author, and public speaker. Talking to Strangers is Gladwell's sixth book and was released in September 2019. The book received warm to mixed reviews from critics and readers alike. In a fireside chat at Penn State University with Adam Grant, another best-selling author and professor, Gladwell considered Talking to Strangers a continuation or a sequel to Blink, where Blink argues about the power of snap judgment and how sometimes it can explode in your face. Talking to Strangers built on the premise that people are not always what they seem. Before you read the book, ask yourself this: how often do you come across someone you don't know? Once a week? Once a month? In today's world of hyperconnectivity, the chance of us encountering a stranger happens almost daily. It could be a candidate to interview, a person at a networking event, or even a babysitter. Ever notice how soon we have an impression about someone we don't know even before we get to know them? We believe tiny details give the stranger away. Impeccable shoes, firm handshakes, eye contact, and eloquence mean someone professional and trustworthy. A shifty glance, twisting hands, and mumbling scream dishonesty. Whatever our job is, whether we're managers, we work in finance, police, or we're a parent, we grasp at visible clues to read people we don't know, believing those clues to be correct. Spoiler alert, this whole judging system is shattered in Malcolm Gladwell's latest book. Why are we so bad at understanding people we haven't met? Gladwell presents his case with three puzzles. Puzzle number one: we often can't tell when a stranger is lying to us. From Hitler to the Ponzi schemer Bernie Madoff, convicted pedophile Jerry Sandusky to double agent Anna Montes, we're having trouble because of what the psychologist Tim Levine calls a default to truth tendency. As social creatures, we tend to trust others, but would this make it easier for us to tell when someone is telling the truth? Enters puzzle number two. We can't even tell when a stranger is telling the truth either. Why? Drawing from the popular sitcom Friends, where the characters' feelings are perfectly portrayed by the actors, comes the next reason: the transparency myth. We believe whatever people are feeling inside is clearly displayed on their face and demeanor. In the case of Amanda Knox, who was wrongfully charged for the murder of her roommate because there's a mismatch between her being innocent and her oddball demeanor, we are bad lie detectors in those situations when the person we're judging is mismatched. Traumatic events or alcohol abuse combined with a belief in transparency can lead to damaging consequences. While puzzle number one, default to truth, and puzzle number two, transparency, is about the way we look at the stranger as an individual, puzzle number three, in Talking to Strangers, requires us to understand the context in which the stranger is operating, the coupling effect. Coupling forces us to see the stranger in all his or her ambiguity and complexity. This is when Gladwell circles back to the case of Sandra Bland, which he uses to open and conclude the book. An encounter between a white policeman and an African-American woman that ended horribly wrong, with Bland hanging herself in jail 3 days later. The cops' learned instinct to liken Bland's nervous tic with those found in guilty suspects, and his failure to see into her troubled background led to a tragic end. The stranger is not easy. So what are we going to do in the case of strangers? We cannot stop trusting people. It would be disastrous to our society. What we can do instead is to accept the limits in our ability to decipher strangers and learn the right way to talk to strangers, that is, with humility and empathy. And with this note, I'll bid you farewell. Until our next video.